you left in 1996.
Yeah, I left in 1996, and of course I was still with David Sanborn at the time. Some other opportunities came up during the 2000s. You're going to have to help me, but I know I came up in
Boss Skaggs.
Got a lot of different little things like that, and they weren't long runs. I did John Mayer for a year. I did the Continuum record with him.
Talk to me about Bonnie Raitt.
And then Bonnie Raitt after that fact. And Bonnie Raitt was one of my favorite artists that I've ever worked with because she's the sweetest thing in the world, and her brother was one of my dearest friends in the world.
Who lived here in Minneapolis and who was a sound man.
He was
Steve
a sound
Raitt.
man. Yeah, Steve Raitt was one of our dearest friends, best buddy. I mean, he lived on the lake, and that's how I met Bonnie, and we had the band, the TC Jammers, that we mentioned before, was one of her mainstays. When she would come to town, she would use that band as her backup band for her to do a solo gig. So that's how I got to know her. And then Steve succumbed to a brain injury, or a brain tumor, and but lived for 8 years, and we became very close. Steve and I did, and then Bonnie and I became very close because of that. And so I ended up kind of helping her along and trying to be as helpful as I could and playing in her band. Well, thank you very much, Bonnie.
The year Steve passed, you played with Bonnie and kind of held her up.
I kind of held her up. As much as I could. Everybody was holding her up, but I played with her before that, though. I mean, I was in the band before that all happened.
I can't keep it all straight.
I remember he was there when he kind of went down, and I was still rehearsing. I was rehearsing with her, and I remember, so I was with her for about 3 years before he passed. Anyways, that was a wonderful experience for me because she's one of my favorite singers on the planet, and songwriters, and just overall person in general, just wonderful. And then it goes on to Stevie Nicks, who was another.
Tell me how you got that gig.
After I was done with John Mayer, I was with our friend Lenny Castro, and Lenny Castro had done a few cameo appearances with John, and I was in the band for that year after we had done the record with Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino and a few other wonderful musicians. We went on tour for that whole year of that record, a year and a half or something like that. And after that year and a half was done, I had left and gone and said, well, I asked Lenny, I said, what are you going to do? Because he knew we were kind of going to be done with that scene. John kind of goes through bands like he goes through underwear.
Hairstyles.
Yeah, hairstyles. Underwear, whatever.
I should talk.
Anyways, loved doing that gig, by the way. It was a really good one. But he said, I think I'm going to go play some rock and roll with Stevie Nicks. And I said, really? And he said, wow, Stevie Nicks. Wow, that's a trip. Do they need a keyboard player? And he went, I think they do.
Really?
I went,
I don't know this story. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely the story, man. I said,
wow.
Really? And I said, I'd be happy to do. Can you tell her that I'm interested? And he did. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this, but I found out that my old pal from New York, Waddy Wachtel, is playing guitar with her as the musical director of the band. And an old friend of mine, besides Lenny, was Carlos Rios, who played with, he played with
everybody.
Played with everybody. But he did Brother to Brother. He did Gino Vanelli. He did Gino Vanelli's record, which was wonderful. Anyways, so these guys are in the band, and excuse me, who is it? Waddy calls me up and says, you got to come if you're really interested. They were going, really, you're interested in doing this because they think I'm a jazzer. It's like, no, I'm a rock guy first. And I said, of course. And he said, well, you got to come and audition. I said, I'd be happy to audition, man. I'm happy to do it. I think it'd be so fun, man.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, lucky for me, we were old friends, but I was there and I auditioned and I was there with a bunch of other keyboard players, and I just happened to be the guy who got the job. So we became a one big happy family. Been there for 13 years.